only thing I can think of here is maybe uh, hmm, was there an advanced button on load variable? Okay, let's take a look at this again. Did you copy paste that text? Which text? Oh, the what's in the UI? No. It is just the space there. I'm pretty sure 20 is the hex of the ASCII code for space. So I don't think it's that. If we look at this and we go to import and we go to, okay, we have character ranges. We have fallbacks. Quick load system font. Okay. I think one thing is that when I did this and imported, I had not actually set the system font to select which font it was. Let's try re-importing now. So that slightly changed things. Let's play and see if that fixed it. Yay! Okay. So the issue is that the fallback font when I did the re-import as an image font wasn't populated with an actual font. Like it was populated with a placeholder of a system font, but no font was selected in that object. So what I needed to do was not only create the system font resource, but to select it in the import and then re-import. Can I fix the little bit of garbage here? A little bleed over. Image margin height re-import. No. Re-import. Maybe it's character margin? Nope. Maybe the other direction? Yeah, then we get a little bit of cutoff, unfortunately. I think I'm happier with that than the opposite. Okay, anyway, so the objective was the reason objective was to add a font, and we did that. So, oh yeah, I was supposed to commit changes. So what we did before was add main scene and splash screen with time functionality. Cool. All right, and then what we've done since then is everything else. What is Copilot thing we did? That's old. That's old. Main menu. Okay, so we added a main menu. We added a main menu. We changed the main scene. This is what I get for not committing more often. Let's see. So I guess let me commit everything except for that's. I'm not gonna spend the time to make clean commits on all this. Okay. Add shader and font. Is it, I think what that boils down to. All right, so send it off. Okay, so we're gonna add a pause menu. And I think there's a way I could do this where I used the main menu and have it like display a different thing. I think for this, it's just gonna be easiest. Oh, hey, the game's still here. Isn't that beautiful? With my borrowed shader. All right, anyway. We are going to create a new scene. And this is also going to be UI scene. Honestly, what I should do, I'm going to take main menu and I'm going to duplicate it. And we're just going to make a pause menu. There we go. And so we're going to have this one be resume. And we're going to add a new button. Duplicate. We're going to have a restart button and a quit button. Brilliant. Of course, this should be the pause menu, not the main menu. And we should... Do we want to have the same script? Probably. Probably. Yeah, I think so. So what we need to do is we need to connect this button. All right, because we duplicated it, we duplicated the connection of the signal. Excuse me. Let me rename this button to be resume button to make it clear what's going on. Especially, you can imagine if we were on the main menu scene and we switch to the pause menu scene, it might get confusing. So we're gonna remove, we can disconnect, we can connect this. And this is gonna be on resume button pressed, which we're gonna pass for the moment. And then restart button. We're going to disconnect and we're going to connect to on restart button pressed. Same deal. I don't know why today it's deciding to add a lot of tabs instead of spaces. And then exit button is connected to on exit button pressed, which will have the same behavior of just bailing out. So we're going to implement this, but not yet, because what I want to do is on the main scene, I want the ability to pause the game. And when we pause the game, unlike with the other situation where we are, and this I think was what was being alluded to with the question around scene changes before. So with the splash and the main menu and then the main scene, we are like unloading the current scene and loading a new one. But for the pause menu, what we need to do is we need to load the pause menu and overlay it over on top of what's going on the scene. And then, but also keep to pause the game, right? So let's talk about how we're doing this. So something needs to receive an input. And I guess what I'll do is I'm just going to create a script here called main scene. And I don't think we need to do anything on ready or present. We'll create a function for input. If action pressed UI cancel, then we want to check if the game is paused. If game paused, no. Actually, this has merit. If the game is paused, resume game, otherwise pause game, and we'll implement these functions. I think that's good. Yeah, because for pause game, that is going to do whatever we need to do to pause the game, and it's going to load the pause menu scene, and resume game will hide the that scene and unpause the game. And then we also need to provide signal. Think about that for a second. So the pause menu needs to be able to do something that causes the game to resume as well. How is that communication going to happen? It's going to be initiated from the pause menu. So that's where the code is going to execute. That's going to do the thing. The pause. How is that going to work? Can the pause menu scene have a signal? And when we instantiate the scene, we hook onto that signal on a callback function in this file that then resumes the game. Maybe. Let's implement some functions. Is game paused? Get tree.paused. Is that really a thing? Scene tree.paused. If true, the scene tree is considered paused. This causes the following behavior. 2D and 3D physics will be stopped. Depending on each node's process mode, their node process, physics process, and node input callback methods may not be called anymore. Interesting. I'm curious if we just like pause game by... Oh, the other thing we could do is we could definitely just put the pause menu scene in here. So just like let's see, how do I want to do this? Let's do at on ready pause menu. There we go. And then the opposite, right? So that's not going to work yet because we don't have a pause menu. But I wonder if we put pause menu here, and that needs to be at the top so that it shows on top of everything else. No. It needs to be at the bottom to show on top of everything else, right? That's why we have the color rect at the bottom. And then we need to layout. Like so. Very nice. Okay, so and then this needs to be hidden by default. Not visible. Okay. So I should be able to play the game, hit escape, it pulls up the pause menu in the main scene. Like we have to start the game first before that's accessible. That is a lot. Hold on. Let's go to the splash. That turned out to be a little big after we adjusted things. And then there was something else that occurred to me. What was it? Oh yeah. So we're looking for pause menu. Did we call it pause menu? We did. Okay, cool. Those names have to all agree. Okay, so if we start and then I hit escape. Oh, I can't hit escape again. I want to be able to hit escape and have it resume, but that doesn't work because of something the doc said. Right, so in input, no. There was something in the description of paused. Depending on each node's node.process mode. Okay, So I think on main, which is where the script is attached, process mode, always. Downside of that is that I think everything else is set to inherit. So do I want to, like, maybe at this point what I could do is I could take all this stuff and toss it into, ooh, let's do this. Let's add a child node. This is going to be node 2D, and this is going to be a thing that is sort of a game container. Right, so then I can say process here is mode pausable. Is that the default? Inherits process mode from the node's parent. This is the default. Stops processing when scene tree pause is true. So I think this might work. Let's see, what did I break? Start. Okay. So we have a game. If I hit escape, the game pauses. If I hit escape again, the game resumes. If I hit escape here, the timer pauses as well. Everything pauses. Except for the background. I'm fully on board with the shader background continuing to gyrate on the pause. I think that's cool. All right. So that was easy. It's cool that the pause mechanism is baked into the nodes. So now what we need to do is in the menu, like the buttons are interactable. Let's hook up the buttons. Actually, let's test something first. So if I run this, I get into the game, I start, I hit escape, I hit quit, the game quits. Okay, so we've demonstrated that in the menu it's still interactable. You can still interact with it when the game is paused. So that's good as well. Okay, so in main menu, no. Yes. So this script is actually just the menu script. So let's rename it. Rename. Bam. Okay, so we go over here, and it's now here. Cool. So when resume is pressed, can we just do this? Set. Like, we don't even have to communicate. We can just get the tree and unpause it, and then hide this scene, this node. Does that work? So does resume work from the pause menu? Yes. And everything gets unpaused when I hit resume. Nice. So now we have two ways of exiting the pause menu. Nice. Cool. Very good. And then restart does something that we haven't figured out what that looks like yet. I think we have to have like a restart signal for the game. Is there so in scoreboard we're doing stuff here. Reset game state. Wait. What was this supposed to do? Nothing? Apparently nothing. Okay. Well, let's remove all this stuff that does nothing. Where we have somewhere right now where there is a signal passing back and forth. I forget where. Menu main scene.gd. Okay, that's what we were just doing. Goalpost? Yeah. So we do provide signals, and that's what's calling those other functions, right? We've hooked these signals to those functions. So it turns out we didn't need a signal for unpausing. Do we need to create a new signal for the idea of restarting the game? And where does that logic live? Right, so here for the goalpost is the node that is receiving the information, like it's directly connected to this area 2D of the ball is entered into it's left the screen on one side or the other, so we know that a goal has been scored. So the thing that is emitting the event is the thing that defines the event. In this case, that would be the menu, right? So we'd have a signal restart game. And then when we click the button, we emit the signal. Is that how that works? That's not how that works, right? We have an example of this in the goalpost. Yeah, we just do signal name.emit. I wonder if that other way is something that's kind of a legacy way of doing things. Restart game.emit. So when we do that, we need to restart the game, but we also need to unpause and hide the pause menu. I think that's all true. So we'll emit a signal, so the game will become unpaused right as we emit the signal. And something will need to be connected specifically to, like if we look at the pause menu, right? And we look at the node, it has a restart game signal. So we'll be able to hook this signal to something that will handle that. What is that something? Is it main scene.gd? Is it potentially multiple things? Maybe it's the ball. Where are we keeping track of the score? In fact, let's see, scoreboard? Yeah. So I think we would connect the signal both to the scoreboard and to the ball, right? So the scoreboard needs to know, hey, we're resetting the scores. The ball needs to know, hey, I need to respawn. And we will leave the paddles wherever they are. We're not going to reset them or move them at all. They'll be wherever they are. Okay, so we need a function called, stop it. Yeah, reset scores, perfect. And the ball, I think, might already have a function to reset. Yes, but not in the way we want. We want to let's see. Let's do let's make a new function called onReset. Because we need to ensure that all the state is completely, like, the timer could be running when this happens, the countdown could be counting down, the or the timer could be stopped, the label could say anything, any of those things, right? So we need to fully reset it. basically, I guess we're just doing this logic, right? No. No, specifically we are doing this. Timer stop and then call reset. And then reset makes the ball visible. No. No. We want to start the timer. And I mean, yeah, technically we can calculate that, but we know we want to start with 3. Right, so we will set the respawn countdown to 3. We start the timer, and we, let's see. If we call start on the timer, and the timer's already running, does that reset it? Starts the timer or resets the timer if it was already started. It doesn't resume a pause timer. Okay, I think that will still work though. Okay. So then, the rest of the work is here in connecting these the signal to various places. So we want to connect to the ball. We want to pick the on reset, connect, and then and then we also want to connect the signal to the scoreboard and pick reset scores. Connect. Very cool. And then if I play this, so what we want to test is, can I restart the game? Like the game is going, I hit escape, I hit restart, it goes back to 3. I let the AI score on me. We get a respawn here. We pause. We restart. The score should go back to 0-0. The ball should start its spawn countdown, but the paddles won't move. The ball is okay. Interesting. So when we restart, the ball needs to disappear. Right. So normally what happens is the ball goes off screen. And technically it's still like flying off into nowhere. Interesting. Let's think about that for a second. We can hide this sprite. That's true. False. Can we say, so this is the ball, right? So we can just say velocity equals 0 vector. So we just stop it moving. We stop it moving, we make it invisible, and then we trigger the spawn time countdown. I think that'll work. So again, I'm gonna let it score on me, so we can see that it resets the count, and it's counting down. I'll let it spawn the ball. Okay, so the ball is like right here. It's 0-1. If I hit restart, the ball goes away, the score is reset, the ball reappears, and the score goes like that. Okay. Yeah, seems fine. What happens if I make this full screen? Oh, it doesn't scale, does it? We are this size. Interesting. Something to figure out at some point. Oh, there we go. Keep aspect ratio. Okay. So we do not accommodate. Oh, that was interesting. What if I do this? There goes the ball. Okay. So on the list of things to do, bigger picture, list of things to do. Where's Scaladra? There it is. Game canvas, viewport, scales. Actually, while I'm here, let's update this. So we have let's check off things that we've done here. Look at all the things we've done. We got a splash screen now, a start menu, a font, a pause menu. So much stuff done. I don't want to save that. Interesting that I can save it as an Excalibur name. Okay, cool. All right, so let's commit things. Remember how like an hour ago I was saying I should commit things more often? Okay, so yeah, pause menu functionality and reset game state. Cool. All right, so that's all pushed to GitHub now. Oh, all right. And that is all the things that were on this shortened list. Okay. Maybe we can do one more thing. Can we do one more thing? Key configuration is interesting. Maybe we can do a very simple version of it. And then in future games, we can come back and enhance the UI for it. This, I imagine, is something that I would like build and refine, but I would carry it forward. Like a lot of these things, like some of these things, like how I'm doing bounces, are things that are probably not going to be generally applicable to like a Minesweeper clone or future games. But like the UI stuff may be like of general use. So how is this going to work? So what we're gonna do is, I think for now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a button here. And this is going to be a, what shall we call this? Key bindings? Button. Back to the inspector and say key bindings. All right. I imagine in a future game, like we would just have a settings button here, and then we would go to a UI that would have multiple sections, and one would be for keybinds. But for this, for right now, just keep the scope down, right? And we'll just do one thing. So we will make a new scene. And what's this? This is going to be a UI scene. It's going to be key bindings. And right. So the key binds in question, the controls that we have are going to be pause, are going to be up and down. That's it, right? Those are the things you can do. So we just need some kind of control container for that. And because this is going to be like, it's going to be label and then some kind of input, I think a grid container is going to make sense. And then we'll do layout and we'll, oh yeah, I've learned. I can just click this button. There we go. All right. And then we add a label. I'm I'm just gonna we'll do one and figure out how to do this. So hey, Godot, do you have an input where I can specify a key? Graph, color rect, graph edit, range. Yeah, some neat stuff there. Separator. Okay. Item list. Control provides a vertical list of selectable items that may be in single or multiple columns. Wow. Line edit, menu bar, 9 patch rect. 9 slice panels. Huh. Video stream player is interesting. Container stuff. Text edit. Code edit. That's too much to hope for. Okay. What do we want this to look like? Like, this could be... I think this could just be, like, the simplest thing that could possibly work, right? Which is, we do a, not a text edit, there's a simpler, like a line edit. And we allow you to enter one character. Like, there's another version of this where it's like a drop down or something where you can select from known key combinations. But I wonder if I can make something work here where it's just like a single. Let's see. So pause. And max length 1. Cool. Okay, so grid container, columns 2. I don't want this to be full screen, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a sensor container. I'll put the grid container inside of it, and then this will be laid out to be occupying everything. There we go. And I need some way of getting out of this. So I guess what I need to do is I need to add a, let's add a VBox container. Put the grid container inside of that, and then we're gonna add a button. And this is gonna be a done button. I'm not even gonna add a cancel. There we go. Done. Oops. Okay. Simple. Real simple. So we'll save that, and I think this will have a default value. We're gonna make pause P, which means for this to make sense in the project settings. Actually, how's this gonna work? How is this going to work? Input map. Basically what I want to do is I want to have a UI element that allows me to change this. Also, we don't need these move left and move right anymore. That was from our very first test before we started making Pong even. Same with jump. Also, I'm going to remove multiple bindings. And we're going to show built-in actions. I cancel. I'm gonna edit this. This is gonna be P. Great. It's gonna be great. do capital. Actually, let's do this. Let's not use this to put this text in. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna attach a script to this, and in our ready, what we want to do is we want to what I need to do here is I need to get let's see, on ready for let's label these. Actually, pause label. Oops. No, undo. There we go. Okay. Pause edit. Okay. Pause input equals. Okay, I'll call it pause input. So what I want to do is populate the input map. No, populate the inputs from current input map. So I have no idea how to do that. Apparently there's an input map thing that we can address, and we can get an action list. And so we want UI, what was the thing? Well, we saw it a minute ago. Cancel, UI cancel. What does this actually do? Doesn't exist. Cool. Okay, so action, get events, add events, set, move property, load from project settings. Return value of call. Okay, it returns void. So that's not a thing where we can interrogate the input map. Action add event, erase, get events. What does action get events do? Returns an array of input events associated with a given action. When used in the editor, this method will return events for the editor action. If you want to access your project's input binds from the editor, I don't. Okay, so I guess that is what we want to do. So what is, well, let's do colon equal, what is the type of input map? It is an array of, okay, so cancel inputs, we'll call it. So it's an array of input events. Obviously, the code that Copilot's giving me here is not what I want. Our first cancel input, and then get it, and then do that. So, hey, here's a question. If I just run this, oh yeah, we need a, you know what I can do? I can be clever. Run just this scene. Can I just run this? How do I tell it to run a specific scene? Run current scene. Womp womp. Invalid assignment of property or key text with the value type string on base object of type null instance. Also, let's go back to previous settings and then close that. So, pause input. Is actually not, this is not the path to it, right? What do I want to do here? I could, I'll just hard code the path, right? So it'll be, oh, it's going to tell me. Hold on, if I just do this, pause input. There we go. We can do that. The other thing I could have done is just make a export, and then like pass the reference to the pause input. That's fine. We'll do that. Now, does this work? I run the current scene. Yeah, and it grabs P because it I configured P to be the pause, which is actually the cancel UI cancel action. So it got that. Cool. And done doesn't do anything yet. We'll get back to that. Okay, so if I want to attach a signal, we'll do on done button pressed. We'll have this, and what we want to do, save the current input map to the config file. Is that a thing we can do? Is there a config file? And if we did that, what would that actually do? I mean, we don't want to do the thing it's doing here initially, right? We don't want to try to get the UI cancel thing again. We actually want to read pause input.txt and put that into the config. Some of this is actually potentially useful. So let's imagine we were to do something like pause input.txt and stick that into that. Get rid of all of this. It's useless. And are we going to delete? First of all, we don't want to pause. Right? So this UI is going to be added to the scene, and it's going to be on top of the pause menu or the start menu. So we're going to, like, this scene will get instantiated and it's going to delete itself. I think it's had the kind of the life cycle of this. Also, we're done with these other files. Okay, so what does this actually do? Let's save this and let's just run the scene directly. Click done, and it deleted itself. Did it put something in our files? And where would it have done so if so? User config.cfg. What even is that? Is that a real thing? I mean, we didn't get an error when that happened. Is there such a thing as user settings? What is it? Let's find out. Godot. I know I'm on the documentation page and I could just search in here, but config file. Save user // scores. So if I did that, where would I find that file? I guess at the end of the day, it doesn't matter as long as it works. One thing we are going to need to do though is we're going to need to have some place in the project where we load those settings, right? It's just a config. The system doesn't know that there's meaning. Yeah, like config file is just, it's an INI style file. It's stuffed somewhere. If we want to have it do something, we need to load that config and apply that to the input map. So, for that to happen, that needs to happen in main menu. So we'll do func ready. No. Load user config.cfg. Is that what it was? Yeah. Load key bindings from. Okay. So if we can find it, I mean, we're definitely not doing that. That's wrong. What we want to do is we want to say, is there a way to change the input map? And there might actually be something like baked in that does this for me. I guess I'll find out. Action add events. Action set dead zone add action. Add user signal. Connect. No. Add action. Erase event. Okay. So just erase everything and then input map dot action dot add event. What does that actually do? Can I? Oh, yeah. Hold on, what is? Hold on. Action add event. Yes. So adds an input event to an action. This input event will trigger the action. Okay, that's not what I want to do. Let's check. So removes all events from an action. Huh? Maybe that is what I want to do. So input event key represents a key on a keyboard being pressed or released. Input event for keys on a keyboard supports key presses when events are compared. Sure. So what is new? Okay. Is there a different method? Nope. Maybe I should look at docs. Input map. Input map. Using input event input map. Manages all input event action which can be created, modified. Customizing and remapping input from code is often desired if your whole workflow depends on actions. Yes. It's not saved. Must be modified manually and the state is run from the project settings. Any dynamic system of this type needs to store settings in the way the programmer best sees fit. That's what we're doing. Okay. Creating input actions. Sure. So if we're not doing it through the project settings and we're doing it manually, we're not going to find an answer there. So action add event adds an input event to an action. The input event will trigger the action, right? Okay, so an input event inherited by input event action varies things. As text, huh? Accumulate returns a string representation. The action strength is action. Okay. So what is input action? Input event action contains a generic action which can be targeted from several types of events. Properties. Tutorials. Yeah. I think cancel input equals default that to P. Get value. Sure, that might be valid. Cancel. Yep, there we go. And then scan code is that. And then, oh yeah, when it's pressed. Cancel input. Maybe. What is a scan code? Can we? So what's the type of cancel input event? It is a input event key. Okay. Does that have a scan code? What is an input event key? Has a key label, a key code. Latin label printed on the key in the current keyboard layout. So maybe it is a key code. Which is not a scan code. Key code. What does pressed signify? I don't know. So, here's the question. If I go over to Godot, we go back to our key bindings. I'm gonna run this. I'm gonna run the scene. It's gonna bring up just this UI. We're gonna change this to Q. Hit done. So that should have written something to config. Now when I play the game, and we get here, there we go. Okay, invalid assignment of property or key code with value type string on a base object of type input event key. Okay. Okay, so that's supposed to be a key. So how do I get a key? Okay, can we look at this? Let's have a reference to what the key is. Key doesn't exist. Terrific. What is there are methods. Display server keyboard get key code from physical. All right. Well, I guess I know what I need to do some research about, because I can't have a game that doesn't allow you to rebind keys. So key rebinding. As you can see from the keyboard, I really care about that. All right. So I think it's about time for lunch for me. So we're gonna pause here for now, and we're gonna find someone to